Hello and welcome to Voices of Vision, Stories of Soul. My name is Catherine Toomey and I'm here to welcome you to my six-part interview series, which I have put together with some people that I know and that are around me and that I have found inspiring. And I think that it's just such a wonderful idea to bring these people into my experience and chat with them. So I have just pulled a card just to start, and it's from the Witch Magic, which you can't see. It's backwards. And it is the soulful witch inspires peace and confidence in those around her and those loved and respected. So I'd like to welcome Michelle. Thank you very much for joining us. This is at her own heart. She is a mystic and teacher of Goddess wisdom. Together, we're exploring the essence of the Goddess Hestia, who invites us to return home to ourselves and to rekindle a quiet strength and the strength that lives within us. Honor those spaces where we slow down and reconnect and tend to our inner fire. So welcome, Michelle.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm very excited, especially to talk about Hestia. So, thank you.
That's wonderful. Tell us about your goddess wisdom, the sacred hearth. Tell us how you found yourself going into a journey with the goddess Hestia in your own words.
Okay, so even without realizing it, growing up, a lot of pop culture and stuff, you'd hear a lot about gods and goddesses. But it wasn't until a couple of years ago where I attended witch school, which is where I met you as well, Catherine. And I met so many wonderful ladies there, but they spoke openly about working with goddesses. And I'm like, oh, what is this? How do you work with a goddess? I was so excited. So that sent me on the journey to learning more. The mythology behind all the goddess and gods, it's seriously like a Netflix series. It's very entertaining and very exciting. Um, but the as I journeyed through and learned more about goddesses, I realized a lot of them were reaching out to me. I'm not clairvoyant or clairaudient, so to be able to raise my vibration through meditation and through invocation and setting intentions was allowing them to bring me synchronicities and messages through. So that's how I started connecting with the goddess. And yeah, so from there, Hestia came into my world as well.
So tell us why you say it's like a Netflix series. Is it
Oh
really?
my goodness.
Is it
The
because? Is it the
this
wealth though? Is it because it brings when you well what I found when I started to look into goddess working with goddess is that it brought in a level of wealth that was really relevant to me sustaining. Yeah.
yes. Look, mythology, that's like any story is going to evolve over time. So if you tell the same story, things are going to be added and taken away. Um, Hestia herself is a very quiet goddess, but all of her brothers and sisters, the Olympian brothers and sisters, they went on to rule the skies and the seas and the battlefield. So they had these amazing different stories of triumphs and tribulations and things like that. Whereas Hestia, even though she's much more quieter, she's very, very powerful because she was in every home, every temple, every ceremony in ancient Greek times. She was honored before anyone else. So, yeah, although she doesn't have some great, grand kind of epic journeys, she's still the most beloved goddess.
Yes,
So,
I
yeah.
think my reason for feeling such a calling to your workshop and your experience and bringing Hestia a little bit closer was that in my practice as a massage therapist, we look to ways to bring in that heart that's not just kind of all sort of wishy-washy. We want something that's got a lot of strength. And I feel like Hestia with the flame, the sacred flame, and this sort of characteristic is so perfect as a goddess for me to be mindful of in my own looking or drawing on a goddess that is just perfect for my career. Um, so you've gone on the journey, you've gone through the stages of how the goddess has worked for you to some point. Was there a defining moment or experience that opened the door to the world of Hestia? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so before Hestia came into my world, I attended a couple of witch feasts, which celebrated the Sabbaths. And through those, I learned about altars. I learned about um, setting an intention, whether you want to bring something into your life or release something, calling in the goddess, making an offering, and then closing with gratitude. It's actually not that hard to do, but it's so powerful. So what was happening, we're coming to the end of a lease. I was renting a place that I no longer wanted to be at. And I thought, with all this beautiful goddess energy, it's time to ask for what I want. Now, when you are asked what you want, it's actually a really hard question to answer. But I
Sure,
thought, no,
there
no.
it is.
I
No.
thought, no, no, I'm
Yeah.
going to ask for exactly what I want. So I knew I wanted a home that was affordable, that suited my lifestyle, and I wanted it on the beach. Now, I didn't know if that could come true, but I set my intention with Hestia because she's the goddess of the home. I thought, what better goddess to help me find my new home? So I set my intention. I called her in every morning. I said my little affirmation. I lit my candle. I poured a cup of tea for her and a cup of tea for me, and I let her know exactly what I was looking for. And within a few weeks, I found my place, and I was the most excited. But yeah, and I honored her every morning. And as soon as I got home from work, I would relight the candle to honor her again. So yeah, I devoted myself to her, and with her guidance, she would send me different synchronicities and things like that, and it sort of guided me into the path of the home that I now live in on the beach.
Amazing, amazing. I'm quite home focused. I think it's part of what the goddess does as well. It really creates ceremonial practices that just help you to feel nicely guided. I genuinely feel nicely guided. Uh, or when I'm not, I know that something's off, and that's a really good place to be. Could you tell us? I know that you had your amazing workshop at the High Priestess Online Witch School recently. Tell us a little bit about that process, and tell us a little bit about your course and or courses that you spoke about.
Okay, so the opportunity came up they were looking for teachers for Witch School online. Now I had attended Witch School in the physical for the last couple of years, and I thought, let's step out of my comfort zone. So I put my hand up, and so yeah, from there they wanted to know what I wanted to teach, and I thought, well, I live and breathe the goddess. So I thought, why not teach people what I do in my everyday life? So I came up with the class which showed you the four building blocks of working with the goddess. So the intention, calling them in, setting up an offering, which is the altar, which is a physical part of the working with the goddess, and then of course showing people how to show gratitude and grounding the process. So it was very exciting. I was super nervous. I know I was nervous because I used the word so often. But it
Yeah.
was it was very empowering. And I had a lot of really good feedback. So I was quite honored to represent Hestia in that way.
Yes.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. Can you tell us I know, okay, so tell us more about the background from the point of view of Greek mythology, the point of view of Hestia, from like how we hear about Aphrodite and her heritage and her family and how sordid her birth and things like that were. Do we have any stories about Hestia?
All right. So, yes, like I said, it's a Netflix series where Rhea and Cronus they have all these babies and then all these gods and goddesses, and of course, for some reason, the father wanted to eat all the children. It's a really weird story. But Hestia is actually the eldest of the Olympian siblings, and she chose not to have an adventurous life. She chose to be the keeper of the flame. So, what's really cool about Hestia's story is that before any ceremony or anything was done to honor any other god in any other temple, Hestia was always honored first. In every home, there was a flame burning in Hestia's name or in Hestia's honor. So it could have been a candle, could have been fire from the hearth. It could be just as simple as cooking under a flame. But she was honored throughout all of ancient Greece. So, yeah, offerings. She always, if there was a ceremony in a temple for another god or goddess, Hestia always got the first offering. She was always honored first. So that's pretty powerful to be in everyone's home. Didn't matter what status you had, she was honored. Now, to me, Hestia brings in the warmth of a home. So she's bringing in the togetherness, the sharing of a meal with people, the tending to the heart. So it's very subtle, but very, very powerful all
Yes,
at once.
I feel like Hestia's been here the whole time. I just didn't recognize the processes. Tell me what you think that she symbolizes for women today, where we're all trying to slow down, where we're all trying to take a breath, have time for ourselves. How can the goddess Hestia help us?
All right, so there's so many aspects of her. I like to think of her as she's got this duality about her. So although she is a very subtle, very humble, quiet kind of goddess, very nurturing and calming, there's another side to her which is so powerful. So what she brings to women, especially, is wanting them to know that their self-worth, like wanting how do I put it? So she comes across as a older, wiser goddess. So she's definitely in her crone phase. But with that, all that wisdom, she wants you to know that if people think you're a very quiet individual, you might be a quiet natured person. And people think because you're quiet, you are easily manipulated. She wants you to know that that quietness that you hold is actually very, very powerful. And she wants you to know your truth and be very vocal. Although you're quiet, please be very vocal in your yeses and your nos.
It's a very
You are
inner feeling, isn't it? It's an
very,
inner feeling from the
yeah.
inside out. Yeah.
Yeah, so she offers so much, but it's really about, especially for women who feel disempowered, she's there to support you, to know that you can be vocal and that you have a voice, and it is your strength, it is your power. So it's quite a big thing, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. How
yeah.
how does Hestia's like centered energy, how does it sort of resonate into like lifestyle with the eternal flame? Would you recommend candles? Do you have a process, a little ritual? Do you have something that can tell us more about Hestia?
Yeah, yeah. So just that moment of stillness, even if it's a minute, even if it's making a cup of tea with and thinking about Hestia. Hestia is the goddess of the kettle as well. Just thought I'd put
Uh,
that in there.
is the flame a
So
metaphor for our inner life, for our kind of inner experience, our inner sort of
yeah,
journeys? Yeah. How
it's so amazing. So what I've learned is the goddesses are beings of light. We are beings of light. And this heart center is so powerful. And if we can tend to this inner flame that we have, um, I think last time I spoke to you, I mentioned that when we tend to an actual fire, if we could only tend to our inner flame the same way we tend to the fire, it's a beautiful thing. And we also spoke about how fire brings that warmth and then that brings that gathering of people together. It's a beautiful thing. But yeah, there's so much power within us. And it's so strange that they talk about the remembering and things like that. But yeah, we have so much more power within here, within our eternal flame. And if people can start learning a little bit more about that, the beautiful, magical things that would unfold after, doing that work is immeasurable.
Apart from the flame, what other sort of symbols are there for Hestia, the goddess Hestia?
Okay, so obviously the flame, the candle. I just mentioned the kettle. She's the goddess of the kettle. So to have a tea and to stir an intention into a cup of tea before you go to work, so simple, and it's just a moment of stillness.
And
Um,
that's a real slowing down, isn't it? Like if you're like me and you're trying to get that takeaway cup into your car so you can drink it while you're driving to work, if that's the pace that you're being credited with living, I can't even imagine the capability of spending, I don't know, a minute, 45 seconds actually stirring that. And so I think as well as everything that we're talking about, what it really does do in the whole talking about this beautiful goddess Hestia is simply remind us to slow down with what we're doing for all the reasons. So there's never just one reason that comes from slowing down. It's so much better for your health, physically and also mentally. So within those two, there's other ways that you are simply helped. You're less stress on other people if you have your own life under control. Even though it seems really great to be really busy, I think we hear over and over that the last thing you do really want to hear from someone when you catch up with them is, oh, I'm really busy. Because it's kind of like a put off. It's kind of like, oh, what if you're not? What if you're just woken up from 10 hours sleep and the 2 days before that you did nothing and it was just because your body needed to catch up. So I think that the goddess Hestia is a brilliant, beautiful shining light on that perspective of when you've just kind of hit that burnout moment or hit that moment where your body's breaking up, not saying anything, but we're kind of hitting into November. And I just think it's such a beautiful opportunity to share that idea with everyone, that now is a really perfect opportunity to use that time to slow down. Obviously, book in a massage. Got to just throw that in. Book in a massage because it's such a perfect time before Christmas, before the Christmas rush. But also, massage really slows you down. It slows you down, and I'm just so sure that that has to be a way to get in touch with the kettle and the tea and the nurturing, and it's nice to have something to lock into that. It's nice to know that the Greeks just brought this as a journey into their entire culture. It's really good to know that there's backup. So when you're in the process of supporting yourself, massage, candle, hot bath with, bath oils, or all the things, you do that. And then instead of just doing that, and sometimes what happens is you just feel a little bit kind of down the drain. You just feel like, oh, you might feel amazing, but if you've got responsibilities or, like people to look after and things, you just snap back so quick because of that resonance of understatement. You've had your understatement and now it's time to get back to the program. So it is nice to kind of throw in just that little witchy element of perhaps not necessarily lighting the candle, as you say, but maybe just putting something on the altar that makes you think of Hestia, which is a lot of what you described in the workshop. It doesn't have to be anything of the same nature every time. It could just be something different that inspires you to think of how, or to think of what's led you to that moment, especially if you're using an altar or, you know, a bench or something like that, just to sort of spirit yourself through the day. Um, so tell us about the different aspects of the feminine. So you touched a little bit on the maiden mother crone. So tell us a little bit about how that reflect how your education on how that reflects with this goddess.
Okay, so because the story always starts off as Hestia in her maidenhood. Okay, so she's taken the oath of her virginity and her maidenhood. So that's how I see her. But when I get the wisdom part of her, she's older and wiser. I don't see her as the mother. I see her as the crone, as the older, wiser, beautiful energy that comes with her. So obviously older, wiser. There's so much to learn from her, and if she's there to support you through things that you're going through, um, amazing. Yeah, so I don't know if that's yeah. The picture I use on my altar is her as the maiden, but I feel like the information and the energy I get is the older crone.
And do you think that's just relating to stages in life, or do you think it's just that, like, I know when you look at some of the goddess, you do hear. I think when it comes, actually, what it comes down to is when we're talking about Greek mythology, it's that mythology that tells us the whole family. We don't necessarily ask for all that information. We're quite happy, as you say, to just kind of flash forward to where in my mind I have that image of the goddess being used by a certain number of people. And because I've got that terrible 100 monkey syndrome, I know people say you should be an individual, but the trouble is, I think I'm so individualized in my application of life that it does also always help to have like a background of acknowledging some history that you can connect. Um, in this case. So she does. So she usually appears or comes through as a maiden, mother, or wise woman. Could you tell us someone that's new to goddess work? What's a gentle way to begin connecting with the goddess Hestia?
Okay. So obviously to know a little bit about her story, I think that would help. You can't just want to connect to anyone that there's no con you want a little bit of a connection. But the easiest way is to light a candle. It could be a small tea light. It doesn't have to be too much. I did have one lady, she says, "Oh, I've got a pyromaniac cat. What can I do?" And I look, it's all up to intention. So if you need to use a battery operated candle, just do it because the intention is more powerful. But yeah, flame, large, yeah, is good. Look, it could be a purple flower. It could be a cup of tea. I always have a cup of tea on the altar with the candle and a photo. But start where you need to start from. And as you I find with myself, I'll be out and if I see a daisy, because she likes daisies, if I see a daisy, I'm like, I'm going to pick that because that reminds me of Hestia and I'll put it on her altar. It doesn't have to be a lot. But if you do want to start working with Hestia, have a think about what do you want to bring into your life and what can she support you with? So, or what do you want to release? Yeah, and just talk to her. You may find an affirmation that suits you, or you may just, you may just say, Hestia, I just need a moment of stillness and sacred care. It could be anything. But yes, if you have an intention, you may like to write it down and pop that on the altar as well to remind yourself while you're working with her and what she can do to help you get to where you want to go. That's the easiest way. Doesn't have to be too elaborate. It's what's coming from here, which is her biggest power is what's coming from the internal flame.
Could you
Yeah.
tell us about your bigger experience? I know you work with plants and I know that you've done. I did have a look at your Instagram and had a look at some amazing videos. Can you tell us a little bit about that, or some good a good
Okay.
story from that?
All right. So that was I have a Instagram page which has got nothing really to do with goddesses. It's called Wild and Leafy. I don't post very often. It was more just fun for me. I'm a plantaholic. So I have hundreds and hundreds of plants inside my house, and I find it very brings a lot of peace and comfort.
Incredible,
And
incredible.
I have a lot of friends that pop over and they're just like, oh my God. But if they've come over with a headache, they just said, my headache's gone when I'm with you. Everything feels peaceful. So yeah, and to me, plants are sentient beings, and I care for them. I get excited when they get a new leaf,
Yes,
and I talk to them all the time.
yes.
Like I talk to the goddesses, I talk to them all the time. I have no idea if they're listening half the time.
Oh no,
Um,
I think plants are part of my family. I really do. I'm always sort of nursing one. So I feel your energy. But I think that that's very much a part of a centered life, actually. To be, they say, you should get a plant before you get a pet. So it shouldn't be so bizarre that if you're channeling really intentional energy in your life, it makes perfect sense that you would also have a home with lots of plants. So is there like a room that you changed up, that, or are you in a new place now?
yes. So I've moved into a smaller home. I had one lady come and collect 5 carloads of plants, and I tried to give her more, but she said no.
Okay.
So,
Oh, okay.
but
So you had to lose
yeah,
some of the plants.
but yeah, I've given a lot to the neighbours here as well. It's still crowded, but I just love it. I
Yeah.
just love it. Yeah, yeah.
And
It's,
yeah. So I know that is there a course, or how do we get in contact with you to learn more? Yes.
okay, so I'm hoping in the next week, fingers crossed, I'll have my website up and running. If you find me on Facebook or Instagram, you'll notice it's just a profile picture at the moment, but there's some amazing stuff going to be coming in on that as well. Now, once I'm up and running, please find me on my website, because what I'm going to offer to everyone is my version of a portrait of Hestia that you can use on your altar if you choose. So this is Hestia as the maiden. She's dressed very modestly. She's got the flame, and she's also holding her flower, which is the chaste tree. If anyone takes chaste tree supplements, you'll know it's good for menopause, it's good for menstrual cycles, it's good for women's overall health. So that'll be on offer. And I'll also have this on offer as well, which will be a little booklet that you can download. The Art of Sacred Ritual with the Goddess Hestia. I've done it in her colors, because purple and white. And it'll just have some information about her, how to set up your ritual, just some information. So keep connected
That
and
is
look out.
perfect. So that's perfect, because it will give really solid instructions on
Yes.
how to feel the energy, which is really the idea. That's the whole idea, to be able to really feel into the energy. It's like I said, Hestia has such amazing energy from the point of view of massage. I just feel that energy so deeply, because we don't have a lot of history as massage therapists as well. We only go back to Greek times, or we can go back, through Chinese times. We can go back historically, but then there's this huge missing time between, like, way back in history by thousands of years, and then where we are now, which is a lot of missing time, actually. So it is really important and has really helped me to touch base with these amazing goddesses. I love Aphrodite, I love Isis, and I also love Hestia. So thank you very much for coming and talking
Very, very
to us.
welcome.
It's
Yeah,
so
and yeah, like I said, if you want to keep connected, look out for the website launch soon. There'll be heaps of courses. The book will eventually be published as well. And there'll be a lot of different profiles of goddesses. Um, the goddess of chocolate, how good is that? And you've got some goddesses that are really good for working for inner work. On the back of these goddess posters, you will find, sorry, I'm just getting it in the screen, a little bit of information about the goddess, her personality, her essence, her modern relevance to us now, and there'll also be a ritual at the bottom. So I will keep you up to date with how that website's about to be launched. Also with the goddess portraits, there will be a downloadable audio file for you to do an affirmation meditation with her as well. So much to come, so much work still to do, but I'm super excited. And I cannot thank you enough, Catherine, for having me on your show. I feel very honored, and I hope that this reaches many, many people, and I hope they get a lot out of it too.
oh, that's great. I'm really happy because we do this now, but really this is the setting the floor, the ground, straw onto the dirt sort of thing, because it just helps to build a bigger profile, to build energy, to build reference points, and yeah, we're always going to be here. I've really loved talking to you. It's such a good experience to see people that I know and they're doing amazing things, and then I feel like how can I use my skills, my talent to check in with that? And so here we are. So thank you very much for coming onto my little interview sort of six interview session that we have going on here. Thank you very much. And yeah, we will have to catch up with you. Thank you very much, Michelle.
Definitely. Thank you. Blessed be.